Today we're going to learn how to make a sound on the clarinet. We're going to start with just your mouthpiece. So we should have your mouthpiece and your reed and your ligature all put together. When we make a sound on the clarinet, we're going to make our bunny face. So we're going to take our bottom lip and cover our bottom teeth and take our top teeth and put it on top of the bottom lip like this. So it looks silly, kind of like a bunny. We're all going to look silly together, so it's totally fine. This is supposed to be fun, and if you can't be silly with yourself, then there's no point, right? So it's good to be silly with yourself. We're going to make bunny faces, and we're all going to look silly. So show me your bunny face, like this. We're going to take your mouthpiece, and we're going to put it on that bottom lip, and we're going to take your top teeth and put it on top of the mouthpiece, like this. Then we're going to take your top lip and close it around the mouthpiece. And we're going to take a big breath and we're going to blow, and it's going to sound crazy, but that's okay. So this is what we're looking for. So pause the video for a moment and practice doing that. When you feel like you can get a sound out, I want you to unpause the video and go on to the next step. All right, we're ready for the next step. This next step, we're going to practice what's called tonguing. We're going to use our tongue to separate the notes and make there be more than one note at a time. So instead of it just being ta all the time, we're going to separate it so it's saying ta, 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 ta. So to practice this, we're going to put your mouthpiece in your mouth and you're going to whisper two. Whisper the word two. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. I'm just whispering two, two, two. When I do that, my tongue is actually touching the reed and it's saying two, 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 and it's pulling it away. So I want you to start by whispering and then using more air until a sound comes out. All right, pause the video and practice tonguing on your mouthpiece. When you're ready to move on to the next step, hit play and move on to the next step. All right, we're ready for the next step. So we can tongue. I'm going to play something and I want you to play it back to me. So listen first. Your turn. My turn. All right, so we practiced doing some different rhythms. Now I want you to pause the video and practice doing some different rhythms on your own, making sure that you're tonguing each one of those notes. When you're ready to move on to the next step, click play and we'll move on to the next step together. All right, next we need to fully assemble your clarinet. We're going to add that mouthpiece onto the barrel. We want to make sure that your reed is on the same side that has the fewest metal parts. So you can see my reed is right here and there's very few metal parts. When we hold your clarinet, we're going to take our right hand and we're going to stick our thumb underneath this thumb rest. Your fingers are going to rest over these holes, 1, 2, 3, and your pinky's going to hang out here. We're not going to squeeze down on them. We're actually not even going to use your right hand today except to help hold the clarinet. We're mostly going to use your left hand. Your left hand is going to make those Lego hands and it's going to come in like this. Your thumb is going to go on this back key and then your front fingers, 1, 2, 3 over those holes. This is a hole here even though it doesn't have that metal around it. All right, the very first thing that we're going to play is pushing our thumb and our first finger, and then we're going to blow just like we did when it was just our mouthpiece. This note is called E. I want you to pause and practice playing E until you feel like you've got a good hang on it. All right, now that you can play your E, we're going to move on to the next note. So E was thumb and your first finger. The next note, we're going to add a finger, and this note is called D. D. This is what D sounds like. All right, take a couple minutes and practice D. When you feel like you've got a good handle on E and D, hit play and move on to the next part. Okay, so we've got E and we've got D. Now we're going to add one more finger for C. Here's what C sounds like. pause and practice playing E, D, and C all together, one at a time, but practice all 3 of those notes. When you feel like you've got a good handle on those notes, click play and move on to the next part. Okay, you've got E, D, and C now. You now know all the notes that it takes to play hot cross buns. First, we're going to start with E, then D, then C. Make sure that you're tonguing like we practiced earlier in between each one of those notes so that it doesn't get mushy and it sounds very clean. So this first part should sound like this. Then we do the same thing again. Now we're going to do 4 C's in a row. Now move on to 4 D's in a row. And then we're going to finish just the same way that we started. All right, you now know how to play hot cross buns. Is it going to be perfect yet? Absolutely not. Do I expect it to be perfect? Absolutely not. When we first start playing an instrument, it's going to take some time for things to be perfect. We need to practice them to make them better. Your assignment that is due the next time we have class is to record yourself playing with just your mouthpiece and playing some different rhythms and showing me how to tongue. And then I want you to play hot cross buns to the best of your ability. So I want you to practice it as hard as you can and turn in your best work. So you're going to take a video on your camera, on your iPad, of you doing those things, and then you're going to upload it in Google Classroom to assignment number 2.2. You have the rest of the class period today to finish doing this. Whatever you don't get done today is homework. Your instrument can go home anytime you want. It's your instrument, and I want you to be able to practice at home. If you don't have internet at home and you take your video at home, I will give you time to upload it when we come to class next time. If you have any questions, please make sure that you ask me before you leave today. I just wanted to make sure you had this video so that you'd have a reference in case you needed to work on it when we weren't together. All right, good luck and happy playing!